Case 1. Abraham Shakespeare was a quiet man from Lakeland, Florida, whose life changed forever after one lottery ticket. In November 2006, Abraham Shakespeare won $30 million in the Florida lottery. He chose a lump sum payout of about $17 million before taxes. At first, the money looked like safety and comfort. He bought a home. He helped people he cared about. He tried to live simply. Friends later said Abraham did not like attention. He was shy and trusting. He wanted peace, not fame. But the money brought pressure, fear, and people who saw him as an opportunity. Abraham Shakespeare had little experience managing large amounts of money. Records later showed he gave away large sums to friends, strangers, and people who promised help. Some of these choices were kind. Others were careless. Over time, his accounts dropped fast. He moved often and avoided crowds. He felt overwhelmed by people asking for money every day. Friends said he felt trapped. Instead of bringing freedom, the lottery win made his life harder and more stressful. Abraham Shakespeare met Doris Murray during this difficult time. She presented herself as a helper and protector. She told people she was assisting Abraham with business matters. She claimed she was helping him tell his life story in a book. Abraham trusted her. That trust became dangerous. Court records later showed Moore formed a company called Abraham Shakespeare LLC. She placed herself in control of the company and gave herself power over Abraham's money. This move allowed her to manage his funds with little oversight. As this happened, Abraham became more isolated. Friends and family heard from him less and less. Abraham Shakespeare's money nearly disappeared. By the time police found his body, records showed he had only about $10,000 left from his original millions. Prosecutors later said Moore had drained most of his assets. Witnesses said Abraham had begun asking questions about his money shortly before he vanished. He wanted answers. He wanted control back. That moment became critical to the case. Abraham Shakespeare was last seen alive in April 2009. After that month, his phone went silent. He stopped visiting friends. Calls were not returned. Moore gave different stories about where he was. Sometimes she said he moved away. Other times she said he was hiding from people who wanted his money. None of the stories matched. Family members grew worried and reported him missing. Abraham Shakespeare did not simply disappear. After he was gone, Moore worked to hide the truth. Trial testimony showed she sent fake text messages from Abraham's phone to his family. The messages made it look like he was still alive. She also contacted the mother of Abraham's son. Moore offered her a $200,000 house if she would lie to detectives and say she had seen Abraham after his disappearance. These actions showed planning and intent. They later became key evidence in court. Abraham Shakespeare was found in January 2010. Police searched Moore's home in Plant City, Florida. In the backyard, under a freshly poured concrete slab, they found his body. Medical examiners confirmed that Abraham Shakespeare had been shot twice in the chest with a .38 caliber pistol. He had been buried there for months. The discovery ended any doubt about his fate and turned the case fully into a murder investigation. Doris Murray was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors told the jury that the motive was money. They explained that Moore feared losing control once Abraham began questioning his finances. In court, jurors heard about the creation of Abraham Shakespeare LLC, the draining of his accounts, the fake text messages, the attempted bribe, and the concrete slab poured after his disappearance. Financial records, witness statements, and physical evidence all pointed to the same conclusion. Doris Murray was found guilty in December 2012. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole, along with additional time for firearm-related charges. The verdict brought criminal accountability, but it did not end Moore's legal efforts. From prison, she continued to challenge her conviction. As of 2025, Doris Murray remains incarcerated and continues to file appeals. In 2023, she claimed she deserved a new trial. She argued that her lawyers failed her and accused investigators of wrongdoing. Courts reviewed these claims carefully. Judges rejected them and ruled that the evidence against her remained strong. Her conviction stands, and her sentence has not changed. Before we move on to the next case, if you enjoy true crime videos, please support my channel by liking this video and subscribing. I post interesting videos on the channel daily. Thank you very much. Case 2. Urooj Khan once ran a dry cleaning shop in Chicago, Illinois. His life changed in June 2012 after he won a major Illinois lottery prize. He purchased a winning ticket worth $1 million. After taxes, the amount he was set to receive came to about $425,000. When he went to claim the prize, cameras showed him smiling and holding the large check. He spoke softly and said he felt thankful. Friends and family believed this money would help him rest, travel, and support loved ones. It looked like the start of a better future. That future ended very quickly. On July 20th, 2012, just one day after the lottery check was officially issued, Urooj Khan suddenly collapsed inside his home. Family members were nearby and rushed him for medical help, but doctors could not save him. He died the same day. At first, the Cook County medical examiner ruled his death as natural causes. Officials believed his heart had failed. Because there were no visible injuries, the case was closed. His family was shocked, but they were told there was no crime. Later reporting focused closely on what happened before Urooj Khan collapsed. Investigators noted that he had eaten dinner shortly before falling ill. That dinner included a lamb curry meal prepared by his wife, Shabana Ansari. This detail became important because cyanide poisoning often acts very fast when swallowed. Family members gave conflicting statements about the meal. Some said Urooj Khan ate the curry. Others said he was a vegetarian and may not have eaten it. This disagreement created confusion and raised more questions. What he ate and whether he ate at all became a key point in the investigation. As time passed, doubts grew. Urooj Khan had not complained of serious health problems before his death. The timing troubled many people. He died almost immediately after his lottery win became official. Because of these concerns, authorities decided to take a closer look. Stored blood samples from his body were tested again later in 2012. The results changed everything. The tests showed high levels of cyanide in his blood. It does not appear naturally in the body. This discovery meant his death was not caused by illness. In January 2013, Urooj Khan's body was exhumed. Investigators hoped this would give clearer answers about how the poison entered his body. The process was difficult because months had passed and the body had broken down. Some tissue samples taken later did not show cyanide. Experts explained that cyanide can disappear over time, especially after burial. Even so, the original blood test remained strong evidence. After reviewing everything, the medical examiner officially changed the ruling. Urooj Khan's death was declared a homicide. This ruling turned a quiet family tragedy into a criminal case. Police began interviewing people who were close to him. Reports confirmed that his wife, his daughter from a previous marriage, and his father-in-law were all present at the home during the final meal. Police spoke with each of them. No arrests were made. His widow, Shabana Ansari, and her father publicly stated they had nothing to do with his death. They denied any involvement and said they wanted the truth to come out. Money added more tension to the case. Because Urooj Khan died before cashing the lottery check, questions arose about who would receive the prize. His total estate, including the lottery winnings and other assets, was estimated at around $2 million. Legal battles followed. His widow and his daughter, Jasmine, from a previous marriage, both made claims. The dispute lasted more than a year. In December 2013, the case was settled. The estate was split between Shabana Ansari and Jasmine. This settlement ended the court fight, but it did not solve the murder. Over time, the criminal investigation slowed. Police said they did not have enough evidence to charge anyone. Even though family members were interviewed, officials stated they could not prove who poisoned him or how it was done. Public reports from major news outlets confirmed the same outcome. Urooj Khan was poisoned with cyanide. His death was ruled a homicide. No one has been charged. Do you believe this case could have been handled better by the investigators? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Case 3. Jeffrey Dampier's life showed how money, trust, and secret choices can collide tragically. In 1996, Jeffrey won about $20 million in the Illinois lottery. The win made headlines, but Jeffrey stayed calm and quiet. He did not act flashy. People who knew him said he liked helping others. He believed money should make life easier for the people around him. That belief shaped how he lived and how he treated family. After the lottery win, Jeffrey's life slowly moved to Florida. He remarried and settled in the Tampa area. In Florida, he did more than relax. He built a business. Jeffrey successfully ran Cassie's Gourmet Popcorn, a shop located in Tampa's Channelside district. The business became well known in the area. He worked there often and treated it seriously. This was not a hobby. It was a working business that showed he wanted structure and purpose, not just leisure. Jeffrey's generosity continued in Florida. Court records showed that he moved his wife's entire extended family to Florida. He bought homes for them, he paid bills, he helped people settle into new lives. This support was large and ongoing. Over time, many family members depended on him. His money touched nearly every part of their daily lives. This closeness blurred healthy boundaries and created pressure that stayed hidden for years. One of the most important relationships in the case involved Victoria Jackson, Jeffrey's sister-in-law. Court testimony and news reports confirmed that Jeffrey and Victoria were involved in a long-term secret affair. This relationship lasted for years. It was known inside a small circle, but not openly discussed. The affair became central to the case. It added fear, control, and emotional strain to a situation already shaped by money. By July 2005, tension had grown. Jeffrey trusted Victoria deeply. On July 26, 2005, he was lured to Victoria's apartment in the Brandon or Tampa area of Florida. At the time, Jeffrey was not alone. He was with an unidentified woman. When the kidnapping began, both Jeffrey and the woman were forced into a van. This detail later became important in court. The woman was eventually released unharmed, while Jeffrey remained captive. Inside the apartment and during the abduction, control shifted quickly. Prosecutors explained that Nathaniel Jackson, Victoria's boyfriend, directed the attack. Trial testimony stated that Nathaniel forced Victoria to shoot Jeffrey, threatening her life and telling her that if she did not do it, he would kill her instead. Under that threat, the shot was fired. Jeffrey Dampier died from gunshot wounds. His death was immediate and final. After the killing, Jeffrey's body was placed inside a van. The vehicle was driven away from the scene. Police later found the van in Seffner, Florida, at the end of a dead-end street on Magnolia Avenue. This location detail became a key part of the investigation. It showed an effort to hide the crime and delay discovery. The scene made clear that this was not a random act. It was planned and personal. Law enforcement acted quickly. Evidence from the apartment, the van, and witness statements pointed directly to people close to Jeffrey. The case moved to court, where jurors heard about the affair, the business success, the family support, and the threats made during the killing. Prosecutors explained that money played a role, but it was not the only cause. The affair tied Jeffrey and Victoria together in a dangerous way. Fear and pressure pushed the final act forward. The jury reached a firm decision. Victoria Jackson was convicted of first-degree murder and related charges. She received life in prison. Nathaniel Jackson was also convicted and sentenced to life in prison. The verdict confirmed that Jeffrey Dampier was killed by people he trusted and supported for years. The court rejected claims that the crime was forced without responsibility. Both defendants were held fully accountable. If you found this video interesting so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your support. Case 4. Craigory Burch Jr. matched all 5 numbers in the Georgia Fantasy 5 game and won $434,272. Friends and family said the win brought happiness and relief. Craigory talked about helping others and enjoying the moment. He used part of the money to buy Christmas gifts for children in his neighborhood. This act came from kindness. Prosecutors later said it also brought attention. Some people believed he was showing his success. That belief became important later. Craigory Burch Jr. became a target soon after the win. Prosecutors said the crime was planned, and court records showed that Dampier Overstreet played a leading role in organizing the robbery. Investigators said Overstreet and others talked about Craigory's lottery money before the attack. They believed he still had cash at home. They also believed he was flexing or showing off because of the gifts he bought for neighborhood children. That belief pushed them toward violence. The motive was tied directly to money and jealousy. Craigory Burch Jr. was at home on the night of January 20, 2016, when the attack happened. Several masked people forced their way inside during a robbery. Inside the house were Craigory, his girlfriend, and his children. Fear spread fast. During the home invasion, Craigory was shot. He later died from his injuries. The community was shaken. News spread quickly that a recent lottery winner had been killed inside his own home. Craigory Burch Jr. did not lose his life for a large payoff. Court records and news reports showed the attackers fled with about $200 and several cell phones. The small amount taken stood in sharp contrast to the violence used. A man who had won hundreds of thousands of dollars was killed, yet the people responsible gained very little. Craigory Burch Jr. was not chosen by chance. Investigators said the group discussed his lottery win before the crime. Police arrested 7 people in connection with the murder. The charges included malice murder, armed robbery, home invasion, aggravated assault, and firearm-related offenses. Prosecutors explained how each person had a role, from planning the robbery to taking part in the attack. Craigory Burch Jr.'s case moved through the courts over several years. Some defendants accepted plea deals. Others went to trial. Dampier Overstreet, described by prosecutors as a central figure in the crime, was convicted of murder and related charges. His conviction was later reviewed by higher courts. The Georgia Supreme Court upheld the murder conviction, confirming that the evidence supported the verdict and that Craigory was targeted because of his lottery win. Craigory Burch Jr.'s death later helped change the law in Georgia. Public attention on the case raised safety concerns for lottery winners. In 2018, Georgia passed a law allowing lottery winners of prizes over $250,000 to remain anonymous. Lawmakers said the goal was to reduce the risk of people being targeted after their names became public. Craigory's case was often cited as a reason this protection was needed. Case 5. Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz, a lottery winner in Brazil who died tragically because of sudden wealth and human greed. In 2020, he won 47 million Brazilian reais in the Mega Sena lottery, worth about $9 million at the time. For many people, winning that much money means safety and comfort. For Jonas, it slowly brought danger. His story later became one of Brazil's most well-known cases, where a lottery win ended in death. After winning the lottery, Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz did not change his life in big ways. Reports confirmed that he continued to live a simple life. He stayed in the same neighborhood where people already knew him. He kept the same daily routines. He walked outside alone and followed habits that were easy to notice. Investigators later said this made him easier for local criminals to watch and follow. Even with great wealth, he did not add strong security or change how he moved around his community. In September 2022, Jonas went out for a normal walk near his home in Hortolândia, a city in São Paulo state. Nothing about that moment looked unusual, but during that walk he was taken by people who wanted his money. Police later confirmed that he was held for about 20 hours. During this long period, the attackers focused on one thing. They wanted access to his bank accounts and lottery money. Authorities said the criminals tried to force Jonas to approve large money transfers. Their goal was to move about 3 million reais, equal to around $600,000 from his account. Bank security systems stopped most of the transfers. Only a small amount of money was taken. Even though they did not get what they wanted, Jonas was still badly hurt. After many hours, he was left by the side of a road. Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz was found alive but in very serious condition. He was taken to a hospital right away. Doctors worked to save him, but his injuries were too severe. He later died in the hospital. News of his death spread quickly across Brazil. People were shocked that a man who had won the lottery could end his life this way. What began as a dream story ended as a national tragedy. Police began a large investigation soon after his death. They reviewed phone records, bank activity, and witness accounts. Investigators said the crime was planned. The attackers knew who Jonas was. They knew he had money. Several suspects were arrested and charged in connection with the kidnapping and killing. Prosecutors said the crime was driven by money and control, not chance. As more details became public, experts and officials began discussing the risks faced by lottery winners. Jonas's case showed how public knowledge of wealth can place someone in danger. Some officials said lottery winners should be given more privacy. Others said winners should receive guidance on safety and lifestyle changes. Jonas's habit of staying visible in his daily life became a key lesson in the case. Jonas Lucas Alves Diaz did not die because he made a mistake during his walk. He died because people close to his environment wanted what he had. Case 6. Ibi Roncaioli lived in Ontario, Canada. Her life changed forever in 1991 when she won a $5 million Canadian lottery jackpot. At the time, it was one of the biggest lottery prizes in the country. The money should have brought safety and peace. Instead, it became the start of years of secrets inside her home. Ibi did not tell her husband, Dr. Joseph Roncaioli, about the win. That choice stayed hidden for more than a decade and slowly broke their marriage apart. Ibi Roncaioli was a mother of 3 children, a detail that later became very important in court. She had 1 child with Joseph, 1 child from a previous relationship who lived with them, and a 3rd son fathered with another man, whose existence she kept secret from her husband for many years. This 3rd child was the center of the hidden story. Court evidence showed that about $2 million of the lottery money was given to this secret son to support his life. Joseph did not know about the child. He did not know about the money. He believed their family finances were limited and often strained. Over the years, Ibi and Joseph lived in a large home, but they were not living as a close couple. Evidence later showed that they were living mostly separate lives inside the same house. They slept in different rooms and had little emotional connection. Ibi was also struggling with severe alcoholism, which affected her health and daily life. Friends and witnesses described her drinking as heavy and ongoing. This added more stress to an already broken marriage. As time passed, most of the lottery money was gone. The fortune that once promised freedom slowly disappeared. When Joseph Roncaioli finally learned the truth, it came all at once. He discovered that his wife had won millions of dollars years earlier. He learned that much of the money had been given away. He also learned that his wife had a son with another man and had kept that child hidden for decades. These discoveries caused deep anger and emotional shock. The marriage, already distant, fully collapsed. In 2003, Ibi Roncaioli died inside her home. Her death immediately raised questions because of her husband's profession. Joseph Roncaioli was a medical doctor, someone trained to understand medications and how they affect the body. Medical testing showed that Ibi did not die from illness or alcohol-related causes alone. Instead, she had been given a deadly amount of prescription pain medication. The drugs were injected, not swallowed. This detail was important because it showed that medical skill was involved. Police began a detailed investigation. They looked at medical records, drug access, and the long history of marital conflict. Prosecutors argued that the death was not an accident. They pointed to Joseph's access to drugs, his medical knowledge, and the emotional damage caused by years of hidden truths. The lottery win and the secret child became key parts of the case. The money was not just missing, it explained why the truth had been buried for so long. The case went to trial years later and drew attention across Canada. During the trial, the court heard about Ibi's alcoholism, the separate lives inside the mansion, and the shock Joseph felt when the secrets came out. Medical experts explained how the drugs caused her death. Witnesses described the broken marriage and the emotional distance between the couple. In February 2008, after 3 days of jury deliberations, the jury reached a verdict. Joseph Roncaioli was found guilty of manslaughter, not murder. The jury decided that he caused Ibi's death, but did not believe the legal standard for murder was met. This decision changed the punishment he would face. In June 2008, Joseph Roncaioli was sentenced to 7 years in prison. He did not receive a life sentence. The court considered his actions, his medical background, and the long history of emotional conflict when deciding the sentence. With that ruling, the criminal case came to an end. The lottery money itself was no longer the main focus. By the time of Ibi Roncaioli's death, most of it was already gone. What mattered most was why it had been hidden and where it had gone. The discovery that a large portion of the money supported a secret child explained years of silence and deception. It also explained the anger that exploded when the truth was finally revealed. Case 7. Tiffany Hill. In November 2020, Tiffany won $2 million on a California lottery ticket. The prize brought hope and excitement. Her family said she wanted to use the money to build a safer, better life for herself and her children. For a moment, it seemed like freedom and relief had arrived. But not all changes brought peace. Some brought danger hidden beneath the surface. After her win, Tiffany Hill moved from California with her husband, John Donato, and their children to Calera, Oklahoma. They hoped the fresh start would help the family heal and grow. But inside the walls of their new home, tension and conflict followed. Friends and family later said that Tiffany had a history of being afraid of Donato and that the relationship had been troubled before the lottery win. Loved ones described patterns of domestic abuse that did not disappear after the prize. In fact, some family members said that disagreements over how the money was used may have added pressure to an already difficult situation, making arguments more intense and more frequent. As the months passed, Tiffany's life looked different from the outside. She had a new house and financial security that most people dream about. But at home, fear grew. Family members later told reporters that Tiffany often expressed a wish for independence from Donato. They said she wanted space, a life free from harm, and a chance to protect her children. These hopes clashed with a situation that stayed dangerous. The money that should have given her strength instead became part of the tension because more money can sometimes change how people act and how conflicts unfold. On July 30th, 2021, tragedy struck. Police in Calera found 31-year-old Tiffany Hill and 42-year-old John Donato dead in their home from multiple gunshot wounds. Law enforcement described the scene as an apparent murder-suicide. Tiffany and John were found inside the house, and investigators believe that Donato shot Tiffany before taking his own life. Their 1-year-old daughter, Leanne, was also found with critical injuries and later died from her wounds. 3 other children in the home survived and were taken into protective care. The community was shocked as the details emerged. What began as a hopeful story ended in deep loss. Law enforcement involvement in the case included not only local police but the FBI because the deaths occurred on or near tribal land in Oklahoma. As the investigation unfolded, officers confirmed that both adults had died from gunshot wounds and that the situation appeared to be a domestic violence incident that escalated beyond anything neighbors or officials could have anticipated. Police did not find evidence of a third party involved. What appeared to be a loving woman's life after a big lottery win instead became a scene of worst fear. Family members and legal representatives spoke to the press in the days after the deaths, trying to help the public understand Tiffany's life behind closed doors. They said that Tiffany wanted out of a dangerous relationship and that she had expressed fear for her safety before the shooting. An attorney for the family said that Tiffany had hoped the lottery money would give her independence, but that the conflict over the money and ongoing domestic abuse may have worsened the situation rather than improved it. Loved ones believe the prize changed everything around her, not for the better, and that the arguments over the money added fuel to an already volatile situation. Case 8. Graeme Thorne was an 8-year-old boy living with his parents in Sydney, Australia, when a lottery win changed his family's life forever. On the 1st of June 1960, his parents, Basil and Frida Thorne, won £100,000 in the Opera House lottery. At that time, lottery winners in Australia were named openly in newspapers. Their address was also shared. The win brought attention from strangers across the country. What began as public excitement soon placed a young child in danger. After the win, the Thorne family tried to keep life normal. Graeme still went to school. He still walked familiar streets in Bondi, wearing his school uniform. Reporters wrote stories about the family. Letters arrived at their home. Some people congratulated them. Others watched quietly. The family did not know that one person was paying close attention and planning harm. On the morning of July 7, 1960, Graeme left home to walk to school. He never arrived. Hours passed. His absence was noticed. His parents were contacted. Police were called, and a large search began. News of the missing child spread fast across Australia. Parents everywhere felt fear. A simple school morning had turned into a national emergency. Soon after Graeme disappeared, a ransom phone call was made to the Thorne family. The caller demanded £25,000 and claimed the child was being held. Police worked closely with the family and advised them on every step. The ransom demand made one thing clear. Graeme was taken because criminals believed the lottery win made his parents easy targets. Later, evidence showed that Graeme died within about 24 hours of being taken. This meant that while his parents waited and followed instructions, their son was already gone. At the time, no one knew this. Hope remained. The public followed the case daily, praying for a safe return that never came. On the 16th of August, 1960, Graeme's body was found in Seaforth, on Sydney's northern side. He was discovered tucked under a rock ledge on a vacant allotment. He was still wearing his school uniform. His body had been wrapped in a blue tartan rug, later identified in records as an Onkaparinga brand blanket. The discovery ended weeks of uncertainty and confirmed the worst outcome. The nation mourned the loss of a child whose only link to the crime was his parents' lottery win. Police continued their investigation with intense focus. The case became one of the earliest major examples of careful forensic work in Australia. Fibers, materials, and small physical details were examined closely. This work led investigators to Stephen Leslie Bradley. Bradley was a Hungarian immigrant who had changed his name to sound more Australian. His original name and background later became important details in court. Bradley had followed news reports about the lottery win. He believed the family could be pressured for money. After the crime, he fled Australia. Police tracked his movements across countries. In October 1960, he was arrested in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and returned to Australia to face justice. His capture showed how serious authorities were about solving the case and holding the killer accountable. The trial took place in 1961. Prosecutors presented evidence showing how the crime was planned around the lottery publicity. The jury heard about the kidnapping, the ransom call, and the way Graeme was held. They also heard about the physical evidence that linked Bradley to the crime. The focus stayed on facts and proof. The court made it clear that this was not an accident or a mistake. In March 1961, Stephen Bradley was convicted of kidnapping and murdering Graeme Thorne. He was sentenced to life in prison. The sentence reflected the seriousness of the crime and the harm done to the family and the country. Bradley would never be released. The legal case ended, but the pain for the Thorne family remained. Graeme Thorne's death changed Australia in lasting ways. After this case, lottery rules were updated. Winners were given stronger privacy protections. Names and home addresses were no longer shared automatically. These changes were made to protect families from becoming targets. Graeme's case was the reason these protections became necessary. Case 9. Louis Valentine won a large prize in a provincial lotto game, and the money gave him hope for a better future. People who knew him said the win felt like a new chapter. He had plans. He had the freedom he did not have before. Like many winners, he believed the hardest parts of life were now behind him. He did not know that this moment of luck would later be tied to his disappearance and death. Louis Valentine met a woman named Aline Girardin after his lottery win. Over time, they became close. By the end of the summer of 2000, Louis was last seen in Laval, Quebec, in late August. After that, he vanished. Days passed with no word. Weeks passed with no sign of him. His family waited, hoping he would return or make contact. When that did not happen, fear grew. In February 2001, his family officially reported him missing. At that point, there were no clear answers and no arrests. The case slowly faded from public attention, even though it never fully closed. Louis Valentine's disappearance remained a mystery for more than 2 decades. Investigators continued to look at the case quietly. Over the years, files stayed open and questions stayed unanswered. Family members lived with uncertainty. They did not know if Louis was alive or dead. They did not know who might be responsible. Time moved forward, but the loss stayed the same. For many years, there were no public updates and no charges. Louis Valentine's case changed suddenly in September 2025. Police arrested Aline Girardin, who was 63 years old at the time, and charged her with second-degree murder. Authorities said Louis had been killed between August 28 and September 4, 2000. According to police, he was stabbed, and his body was later cut apart, frozen, and hidden. These details came from official charge documents and were shared publicly once the arrest was made. The news shocked many people because of how long the case had gone without answers. Louis Valentine's case did not break open by chance. Investigators later confirmed that the breakthrough came from a long and complex undercover operation. In late 2025, reports revealed that police agents worked quietly for a long time, building trust and gathering information. During this operation, Girardin allegedly confessed details of the killing to undercover officers. These conversations became a key reason police felt they had enough evidence to make an arrest. This development explained why the case moved forward after so many years of silence. Louis Valentine's story reached another turning point after the arrest. Following Girardin's detention, police searched a residence on Corbeil Street in Trois-Rivières, Quebec. The search involved forensic specialists and a forensic anthropologist. In late September 2025, authorities confirmed they had found human remains at the location. Police stated they believed the remains were those of Louis Valentine. This discovery gave physical weight to a case that had relied on questions and missing time for decades. Louis Valentine's death also brought new discussion about motive. Media reports from October 2025 said that Girardin allegedly claimed she acted to protect her then 9-year-old son. According to these reports, she told investigators her actions were done in defense. It is important to be clear. This claim has not been proven in court. Prosecutors have not accepted it as fact, and the legal process has not finished. The court will decide what evidence matters and what does not. Louis Valentine's case now sits in the justice system after many years of waiting. The charge of second-degree murder means prosecutors believe the act was intentional. It does not mean guilt has been decided. That decision will come only after court hearings and legal review. Case 10. Doris Murray was a woman in the United States whose life changed after a lottery win and ended violently. In 2007, Doris Murray won $5 million in the Georgia lottery. She won on her birthday, and the prize brought hope for a better future. She wanted to help her family and create stability. At the time, many people saw her win as a blessing. 1 year later, her story became known for a very different reason. After winning the lottery, Doris Murray did not live a flashy life. Officials and news reports said she continued to live by very simple standards. She stayed in her modest block home in Lawrence County, Georgia. She did not move to a wealthy area or surround herself with luxury. She chose to receive her lottery winnings through annual payments, not all at once. This choice showed that she was thinking long-term. She planned to support her children and set up help for her grandchildren. Even with millions of dollars, she kept her daily life quiet and familiar. In the days before her death, Doris was already dealing with stress. Reports said there had been a recent accidental fire in her home just days earlier. The fire caused damage and added pressure to her life. At the same time, there were problems in her personal relationships. One of those involved her former boyfriend, Derek Lorenzo Stanley. By that point, Doris had made it clear that she wanted to end the romantic relationship. Investigators later said she wanted them to remain just friends. Stanley did not accept this decision. Police and court records showed that this refusal became central to the case. Investigators believed the motive for the killing was Stanley's inability to accept that the relationship was over. What Doris wanted was clear. She wanted distance and peace. What Stanley wanted was control. This emotional conflict did not stay calm. It grew into something deadly. In May 2008, about 1 year after her lottery win, Doris Murray was found stabbed to death inside her home. Her family discovered her and called the police. The scene shocked the local community. People struggled to understand how a woman who had won so much money could lose her life inside her own house. The focus quickly turned to someone Doris knew well. Family members told police they saw Derek Lorenzo Stanley leaving the house shortly after the attack. They reported that he had blood on his face. When officers tried to stop him, he fled in his vehicle. A police chase followed, ending when he crashed his car. Stanley was injured and taken to the hospital. After receiving medical care, he was taken into custody and charged with murder. During the investigation, police gathered evidence from the scene, reviewed witness statements, and examined the history between Doris and Stanley. Investigators confirmed that the killing was not random. It was deeply personal. The conflict centered on Doris wanting to end the relationship and Stanley refusing to accept that choice. Her lottery money was not seen as the main reason for the crime. The key factor was control and rejection. The case moved through the court system. Prosecutors presented evidence showing the events before and after the killing. The jury found Derek Lorenzo Stanley guilty of murder. He was sentenced according to the law. In later years, he attempted to appeal the conviction. Higher courts reviewed the case and upheld the original decision. The conviction remained in place. Doris Murray was more than a lottery winner. She was a mother of 4. She cared deeply about her family and wanted to leave something lasting for her grandchildren. Her choice to live simply showed that money did not change her values. Even after winning millions, she stayed in her neighborhood and handled everyday problems, including home repairs and the recent fire damage. Case 11. Renee Senna's life changed in July 2005 when he won 52 million reais in the Mega Sena lottery. Before the win, he lived a simple and quiet life in Rio Bonito, in the state of Rio de Janeiro. After the win, he became rich overnight. People in his town knew him. People talked about him. The money brought comfort and attention at the same time. What looked like a dream beginning slowly became something risky. After winning the lottery, Renee Senna tried to keep living the way he always had. He still went to local bars and moved around town without much protection. Police later said the money changed how people around him behaved. Arguments and tension began to grow inside his personal life. The jackpot was no longer just money. It became power, it became control, and it became something others wanted badly. On the night of January 7, 2007, Renee Senna was standing outside a bar in Rio Bonito when he was shot. The attack was fast and deadly. He did not survive. News of his death shocked Brazil. A man known for winning the lottery was now dead, less than 2 years later. At first, many people wondered if it was a robbery or a random act. Police quickly said they did not believe that was the case. Investigators found signs that the killing was planned. Their focus moved to people close to Renee Senna, especially those who could benefit from his death. Attention soon turned to his wife, Adriana Almeida. Police said the motive was money and inheritance. Renee Senna's lottery winnings were still a major issue inside his family. Prosecutors later said the killing involved more than one person and did not happen by chance. The legal case took many years. At first, Adriana Almeida went to trial and was acquitted, meaning she was found not guilty at that time. This decision caused strong public reaction. Many people believed the evidence still showed her involvement. Prosecutors did not stop. The case went through new legal steps, reviews, and appeals. Over time, judges allowed the case to be heard again. In December 2016, the courts reached a new outcome. Adriana Almeida was convicted for her role in planning Renee Senna's murder. The court accepted that she helped organize the crime so she could gain control of his fortune. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison. This ruling confirmed what investigators had believed for years. The lottery money was the key reason behind the crime. As the years passed, Adriana Almeida did not remain in a regular prison setting. By late 2024 and into 2025, she has been serving her sentence under house arrest. This status has drawn public attention and criticism, especially given the seriousness of the crime. Even so, the conviction itself remains in place. The legal fight did not end with the criminal case. A long and complex inheritance dispute followed. Renee Senna's fortune did not disappear. Over time, through interest and assets, the estate grew and was later valued at over 120 million reais. Courts had to decide who would receive the money. Adriana Almeida's role in the murder changed everything. Because of her conviction, Adriana Almeida was legally declared unworthy of inheritance. That decision opened the door to more disputes. Renee Senna's siblings and his daughter, Renata Senna, became part of the legal battle. Each side made claims to the fortune. In 2021, a major court decision confirmed that Renata Senna, Renee's daughter, was the primary heir to 50% of the estate. The remaining 50% was still disputed by Renee Senna's siblings. Courts continued to review old wills, financial documents, and legal arguments. One key issue was a will that favored the widow, which became invalid after her conviction. By 2024, court rulings began to strongly favor Renata Senna as the sole heir. Judges moved toward annulling the will that benefited Adriana Almeida, clearing the path for Renee Senna's daughter to inherit the full estate. While some legal steps were still ongoing, the direction of the courts became clear. The daughter, not the widow, was set to receive her father's fortune. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel.